Hey people, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. And specifically, welcome back to, well, not welcome back, it's the first day, but welcome to what I'm deeming my Myers-Briggs marathon. I just can't not see the world through a lens of Myers-Briggs.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
Way back when I started this channel, I didn't know what to write in the description box, so I just wrote casually brain dumping in a way that I hope is helpful. And I still mean that. That's exactly what I'm gonna do in this video. I'm gonna brain dump in a way that I hope is helpful, and I'm gonna do that as many days in a row on the topic of Myers-Briggs as I can, because I have for multiple years now had a list of over 100 videos that I know that I could film on this topic, and this is the first one. In this video, it's only right that I talk about what Myers-Briggs is, and I'm going to answer that question in 3 different ways. First, I'm going to tell you what Myers-Briggs actually is, then I'm going to tell you what the internet has turned it into, and then I'm going to tell you, for the grand finale, what I, Halle, believe we should be doing with Myers-Briggs, which, in my opinion, is both an overrated tool and an underrated tool. So regardless of which camp you're in, this content is for you. Look at me using my marketing degree that I've never used. What is Myers-Briggs? Myers-Briggs is a personality assessment that is designed to measure and quantify your natural tendencies, things that you do so easily, so effortlessly, so naturally or instinctually that you don't even have to think about them, and you may have never considered that that is something you do. And these natural tendencies are things you do so effortlessly that you could compare them to breathing. If no one ever introduced you to the concept of breathing, you probably would not catch on to the fact that you were doing it. What this assessment does is it asks a few giant overarching driving questions to calculate your natural tendencies, and it graphs you somewhere on a spectrum from one extreme to the other extreme. It then draws a line right down the middle of each of those spectrums and assigns a letter to each side of the spectrum. There are 5 main questions, 5 spectrums that we're considering here, and you get a letter based on which side of each spectrum you fall on. And the reason this is useful is because there is a lot of contrast between people who fall on one side of the spectrum and people who fall on the other. And there's also often a lot of conflict. And the thing is, like I said, if no one introduced you to the concept of breathing, you may never catch on that you're breathing. Most people have never been introduced to their own hidden, secret, but highly influential natural tendencies. And if you haven't even been introduced to your own, these tendencies that you've carried your entire life, you're probably very much so unaware of what exists all the way on the other side of the spectrum. So this tool is helpful. It is helpful for you to understand yourself. It is helpful for you to understand people who operate differently than you and whose natural tendencies are different than you. It's also helpful to be talking about natural tendencies in general as opposed to chosen behaviors. We can build a lot of empathy and a lot of grace into the understanding that so much of what you are doing, thinking, prioritizing, seeing, saying, everything is based on natural tendency. Nature, Myers-Briggs is powerful because what it does is it creates a common language between people. The most obvious reasons that this qualifies as a useful tool are self-development, self-understanding, self-insight, and then also when you multiply my insight times your insight, my self-understanding times your self-understanding, anytime you start multiplying, healing happens, connectedness happens, understanding happens. So this is a very powerful tool. But I said that I was going to answer the question, what is Myers-Briggs, in a couple ways. That was the first way. What actually is Myers-Briggs? The second way is, what has the internet made of Myers-Briggs? So let's get into that. The internet is a funny place. I appreciate the internet. However, some of our internet friends have taken Myers-Briggs and done a bit of diluting. This is a tool that is definitely at its best and having the most impact on people when we allow it to remain complex in nature. What we've done is we've removed a lot of the complexity from this tool. And the thing is, we can't really do that when we're talking about humans. There is not a human on the planet that is truly a non-complex character. We are all complex characters. The mainstream internet has turned our types into non-complex characters. And we've done that reasonably so that we can use them more frequently in entertaining content, in content that we can see ourselves in content that's easily digestible, funny, entertaining, all of those things. Do I love Myers-Briggs memes? Yes. Is my explore page on Instagram covered in Myers-Briggs memes? Yes. However, we're doing an injustice. We are wasting a lot of the potential of this tool by removing the complexity. So in essence, what the internet has done is looked at the complexity dial and turned it way down. What I do and what I've been doing for a few years now is grabbing back onto that complexity dial and turning it back up. And not just all the way back up, but past the point of complexity that Briggs, Young, Myers, all of them had in mind when they designed these tools and the frameworks that these tools are grounded in. I want to turn the complexity up so high because I think that is the point at which we're unlocking the most potential. It makes sense to question, if you turn up the complexity, doesn't that make this tool unapproachable to people? Yes, absolutely. However, it's up to people like me to study and sit in the challenges of the complexities of this tool and then come back to everyone else with a simple means of communicating my findings. I think it's Einstein, that quote about if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. He obviously worked with insanely complex concepts. He sat in the complexities of his work. At times he drowned in the complexities of his work, but he understood that the more I entertain the complexities, the more I understand it. The more I understand it, the more potential I unlock. The more potential I unlock, the more possibilities that exist. I can do all of that over here. I can never show back up to share my findings with it still in its complex form. I need to get it into its simplest form before I can explain it to people. That's how I feel about Myers-Briggs. Intellectually, I live over here in the complexities of it. I play around with the crazy theories that I have and everything all day, every day, and I do have great theories that I'm very excited to share during this Myers-Briggs marathon. Woo, woo, woo. The point that I'm trying to get across here is that I don't think we are juicing Myers-Briggs for anywhere close to the potential it has. I have been a huge local advocate. When I say local, I mean in my tiny little circle, in my tiny little corner of the world. I've been a passionate campaigner and local advocate for using Myers-Briggs way better than we are, but I am now taking my place as an internet advocate. That's it for today, mile 1 of the marathon. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to talk about why I absolutely do not for 1 second trust the Myers-Briggs test. I don't trust the 16 personalities test, not for 1 second. I do not trust these tests to deliver accurate results at all whatsoever. And I have all my reasons well documented as to why, and I'm actually in the process of rewriting a new test that I think will be 1,000,000 times more effective. I'm also going to talk about the damage of having so many people walking through life with the wrong test results. Thank you for tuning in to the first day of this Myers-Briggs marathon. I'm thrilled to be finally brain dumping all of this onto the internet. By the way, I'm gonna try to really make a point of not telling you my letters as we go through all these videos. So at the end of every video, I would love if you would put in the comments what your guess is as to what my letters are. If you already know what that means, I would love to see what everyone can guess my letters are. And you know, I'll probably reveal it at the end of the marathon unless I do this every day for the rest of my life, which I may. Who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to be brain dumping incredibly valuable Myers-Briggs content and new theories you've never heard of on this channel. So if you want to hear this, if you want to learn this stuff, I highly suggest that you go over, you click subscribe, and then click the bell icon so that you get notified when I post a new video, because this is like a college course. I've always wanted to be a professor. I don't have the degrees for that. So here I am, tenured at YouTube University. Thank you for signing up for my class. That's all for today. Class is dismissed, and I will see you again tomorrow.